The man, the myth, the legend is here with us on the Great Day Podcast. Yaakov Shwekey. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic, man. How are you?
I'm doing swell. BH. I mean, the greats are known by their one name: Sting, Eminem, Elvis, Shwekey. What a brand you started for yourself.
Well,
How is
listen,
that? Did it just come about? Did you just think about jumping in with the word Shwekey, or in my case, I've Mayor K. I cut my name short from Collinson to K. A lot of other singers do the same, but you're like, I'm dropping the first name. I'm going with the last Shwekey, period.
you know what? It's funny you mentioned that. It's funny you mentioned that because I remember before my first album, going to, I would say, one of the most famous. It was a big guy in the Jewish music industry. I won't give away his name because I don't know if he wants to be. And he said to me, I know you're doing this. I know you're doing this album and you're coming into the music scene. What name are you going to use? And I said, I don't know. I would use my name. Why wouldn't I use my name? I'm not one of those guys, in Los Angeles that has a stage name. I'm not. I have a name. He goes, well, your name is Shwekey. I said, yeah, my name is Shwekey. He says, you're not going to use that. I said, well, why
Oh,
not? So he said, because nobody knows what Shwekey is. I mean, nobody. I said, what? I should put Goldberg or Rosenberg? What do you want me to? What is that so much better?
right.
So he said, no, I just thought that Shwekey is kind of new because I said, yeah, and the album is new, the name is new. This is
Yeah.
20 years. I'm talking about
Yeah.
19. I'm talking to him in 1999,
Wow.
and he's like, and I thought about it afterwards in the car on the way back, and I call. I think it was maybe it was my mother or my older brother. I don't remember what it was. And I'm talking to them, I said, our family name is Shwekey, right? They're like, yeah. So, do you think they're like, well, what's the issue? And I'm thinking, I said, no, there's no issue. It's just this guy, he's pretty big in the industry, and he's like, and it goes to show you that when you believe in yourself and you believe in your product and you don't care about, I said, I'm not putting any other name than my own name. Whatever happens, first of all, Hashem's in charge anyway. Whatever happens with the music, whatever happens, but you put your name out there how you want it. And from the get go, he wanted to insert a little doubt, but Shwekey is the name, and that's the story behind it.
I love that. I love that. Well, it's a name that's known throughout the world, and it's one that people have been singing from the rooftops for over 20 years now, which is quite incredible. I mean, can you even imagine from 20, like from when you started? Can you imagine from your wildest dreams when you decided, hey, I want to be a singer? Can you imagine where you are today and the journey that got you here?
I got to tell you, it was an unbelievable journey so far. I mean, it's been I today, if my voice sounds a little tired, is because I tried to record two full songs for the new album today, not one.
Wow.
And I
Wow.
was pushing myself tremendously today, but I enjoy so much. I enjoy so much the journey. I enjoy the process. I enjoy the fact that when I first started, the immaturity in me, as it is in any human being when they first start, they don't know what they're getting into, and realizing the potential of the power of what music can bring to people and how you can really, for sure, raising the spirits of any common human being that's going through a difficult day, a difficult time, but even more than that, you could actually turn around people's hopes, turn around people's sadness, and the fact that somebody is not feeling well or somebody is just down and out, somebody's depressed, or somebody is, going through the human, behaviors of so many different phone calls that I get and different situations and videos and just the
Yeah.
stories that I have. I wish I could remember all of them. but I'm pushed by a few people to write a book one day. I don't know if I'll get to it
Wow.
because the stories are not mine, and I'm not trying to say ever that it's I'm responsible for it. I'm just really a messenger, and I really feel that way because the, I'm not any more special than anybody else. And I really feel that Hashem just sends a gift to certain people, and you're zoiche to have a certain. I say every single day, Moide ani lefanecha. We say Moidim anachnu lach. We say thank you. You know, it's a beautiful word that they say. Baruch Hu Baruch Shemayim Amen is answered by every single blessing in the Amidah and the Shmon Esrei. The one that we don't answer, we're not yoitze. Shemea Ka'ina is Moidim anachnu lach. And they ask the question, why? And the answer is because when it's time to say thank you for the miracles on a daily basis, when it's time to say thank you go do it yourself. And you have to say it from your own heart and your own volition. And when I say that every single day, I really feel this. And the shlichus to go out and to have the schus and to really do what I love and to have a wherewithal to have the siyata d'shmaya to create new music, new messages, lyrics that would lift people and change people. The stories are just
But
endless.
I think there's something, I mean, it's amazing that you had the gratitude which you have and realizing that you have the gift to show up in the world the way that you do. But it takes a lot of courage to do that. It takes a lot of strength and to show and to be revealed and to stand up and to become a figure in the public eye. Was there someone earlier on that sort of guided you, that you leaned on, that said, "Hey, go ahead and do this, cultivate this talent, this gift that you have"? What pulled you out of Carlo to say, "Hey, I wanted to be a singer"?
Well, first of all, let me just say first things first that I'm still in Koilo because
Heyo.
nothing ever pulled me out. It really was a way to stay in Koilo and to do this. Obviously, there's going to be days and weeks and things of trips and journeys and things that I have to miss. But to remain in Koilo was my mission. To remain learning every single day to this day, Baruch Hashem,
Okay. Wow.
is something that I have a tremendous gratitude for. But you mentioned people. There's no way I would be able to have this outlook without leadership and good, really, really good people that till today, my Rebbeim, I'll never forget. Even Rabbi Ben Zion Schaefer, who I told this a few years ago, he came to my house to speak.
Wow.
He was my 12th grade Rebbe. And I sat with him and I was zocha to learn with him Musar every single day, one on one. And I used to ask him all my questions. He says, "What do you want to do in life?" I said, "Of course, I want to learn a koil. I just want to stay a few years." And then he goes, and then he says, "Yeah, you have it," because I used to sing in yeshiva all the time. And he said, you have to use your gift God gave you. You don't want to waste it." I said, "Yeah, I'm for sure going to try." He goes, "No, no, no. You're gonna give it all you got, and you'll do it also once you get married and settle down, and you'll know what you want, and you'll have a good conversation with your wife and how you want to do it, and how." And he really guided me through the steps of, hey, you're gonna do it, but do it at your own pace. Do it at a pace that makes sense for your life. Do it at a pace where you don't rush and jump into something that's too big for you. And really the Torah way of doing things was really a part of the journey. Rabbi Schaefer and then Rabbi Shaya Cohen and Rabbi Menachem Davidowitz and so many people I can mention that are just Rabbi Shmuel Kamenetsky. So many people that I've asked questions for and guided me through the whole, navigated through Rabbi Diamond, Rabbi Shlomo Diamond, who's here now in Deal for so many years in the Koil, who I really got close to. I mean, I got to tell you, the first of all, thank God I married well. My wife Janine with the
Janine.
Special Children's
Oh,
Center.
we're gonna jump into Janine and the children's center. Oh
So
yeah.
that no, so that was a big part of it. That was really a big part of it because I got to know Reb Shmuel Kamenetsky through the center and through that all those. You're right. The guidance from everybody the big people, the great people, and also my good friends who I'm still friends with till today is a huge part of it.
To just go back to something that you mentioned earlier about when you started off, there was a certain immaturity around that. I'm curious to know what you mean by that. And as you grew as your own, as a singer and being recognized, what are some character traits that you had to work on as you grew in popularity?
It's like really good questions. I'm going to ask you how you learned how to do an interview, but that's a whole nother interview. Um,
When
that's
when Shwekey has a podcast, you can have Mary Kay on.
that's excellent questions.
Thanks.
Um, there was a process of really talk about immaturity. When I started, I really I can say did not know for real the power of what music is and what really my true full mission is. You know, you start out and you love the music and you create different, obviously the first album took off in a way that I wasn't ready for because it was so, it just every song it was Mehera was on my, I sang at my own wedding, and Rachim became a huge tefillah for Klal Yisrael, and there was so many other things, and I was like, wow, so fast. It was really it hit me. But then when I started performing and starting to realize, to see the stories and to hear people, I'm singing Rachem at a wedding, and out of the corner of my eye, I see an older man crying actual tears, rolling tears as I'm singing. And the tears are hitting the floor. And I'm like, I'm singing and I'm feeling the song. But then I go over to this older man and I ask him, why were you crying so much? And he tells me, I thought about all the people I lost in the Holocaust and how Rachem, please have mercy on those neshamas and on my family. And I hope, and he's telling me his whole story of World War II and what he went through. And I walk out of there and I start to cry. And I realize that it's much more than just me singing the song. The message of the song, the lyrics that are in it, and the stories that people are going to think about in their own life when they sing your song is not just a beautiful song on the radio that we're in entertainment. We're not in the I know you're in LA now, Mayor, but
Yeah.
we're not we're not really in the entertainment business than Jewish music. We are a lot more than that. When we sing the songs, I want to teach the youth. I want to go out there to the schools as I've done for so many years. And Baruch Hashem, seen such great feedback with songs that relate to them. Talk about Vihisha Amda, what it means. Talk about you can be anything.
Mm.
Talk about cry no more. Talk about and give them the messages that they could relate to in their own way and see the change within the school and see the change within the kids, and then see just stories of different peoples and different mindsets, and realizing that yeah, I was immature when I started, but years have gone on and the stories have piled up, and the power of of the music. You put King David's words into Jewish music and you take deep lyrics, not just hey this, hey that. Take a great message that King David wrote, or take a great message from our Torah, take great message from our prayers, and
Mhm.
actually do a beautiful song and elevate those words into music. I mean, you're talking about a whole different gamut of just of a mission, of a goal, to bring people closer, to bring myself, connect myself to those stories, and to a woman in Santiago, Chile, when I'm singing Shema Yisrael about the Holocaust on the yahrzeit of Kristallnacht, and she comes over to me after the concert and shows me the numbers on her arms and on her arm, and telling me, hey, I've restored my connection in God tonight. You know, I didn't have that for so many years. My connection was lost, and I felt sad and despondent of what I lost. But tonight, I reignite those feelings. I reignite the faith. And it just, I walk away saying it's a lot more than just, I said, I told her it was worth everything, the whole trip, the whole, even if I didn't get paid or whatever it was worth the whole thing to hear your story and to hear your emotions about a song. So I just, through the stories, I've gotten to be so humbled by, really, I mean that, humbled by the fact that I'm a shliach, and to get those messages out is something that I'm thankful every single day for. It's a journey. It's a
Got it.
journey.
Yeah. So what would you say are some of those things that you had to work on in a particular manner?
So what would I work on? I definitely work on the fact that I gotta have certain priorities in place. I have to, thank God I had good, like I mentioned before, um, advisors and teachers and rebbeim, to tell me what's right and what's priority. Sometimes one of the greatest advice that I took from Reb Shmuel Kamenetsky was, "Hey, I know the jobs are going to come, but don't take Shabbos lightly away from your children. Don't don't uh, put the priorities of money, of parnasa, ahead of you also seeing your children grow up, and don't go Shabbos away. Stay at home." And my manager my old manager told me, I was with him for 15 years with Yochi Briskman. I had some great years together. And he told me, Yaakov, do you know how much money you gave up for Shabbos and for jobs that were out of the country and you couldn't make it back for Shabbos? And I always said, don't even bother. I said it in a nice way, the nicest way possible. I said, I don't care how much money it is. There's nothing that could turn the clock back and see my children grow up. And that was you know, one of the many key points, and
Mhm.
asking Rav Shmuel and saying, "Hey, you're right. I'm going to do." And I asked, and you got to listen. And it was hard at the time because there were actual big jobs, with tremendous amount of money at stake. And I said, I'm not even thinking about it. It's not even. And you know what? I look back today, Mayor, and I got to tell you, I have, thank God my daughter got married a year ago,
Wow,
and
Mazel
older
tov.
children now. Yeah, thank you. And just to go back, I will never give that up. To see her grow up and to see them all grow up, and just, yes, jobs came, jobs went. Thank God, jobs keep coming. Baruch Hashem.
Sure.
And though it's those type of life changing decisions. To listen to somebody greater than you, somebody older and wiser than you, that really shapes you. And and one of the things I had to work on is really understanding that, hey, it's not all about what you think it is. There's a lot more to life than just and I
Mhm.
saw many people in this industry that have come and gone, and wasn't easy, and I don't blame them. Sometimes you don't have you know the direction from people that you're asking. You just go about, music can take you, and just you drift away, and you get lost in what you're doing, and you don't realize that family and you know the right priorities really make a difference.
Would
Look
you would
around
you
you in Los Angeles, and
yeah.
you'll see that.
Yeah, no doubt about that. It's like you said, there was, you mentioned that you had direction not to jump into it right away and to take it at your own pace. But then, your first CD album came out, Rachim blew up in ways that I'm sure you couldn't even imagine, and thing picked up in pace. How did you get that advice afterwards? Did that come from that pace where you just got swept up in things and that took you for a ride for a while? What sort of shook you up and to realize that, hey, if I continue down this road, I'm going to end up perhaps like other artists that sort of lose their way. What sort of grounded you and what moment was that where you're like, wait, I need some direction. I need to step out of myself for a moment here.
The phone calls started coming in so fast and so vast and so, so many opportunities that I started really like not getting tired, but having to ask that question because so many things are coming up. And I said, do I have to take everything? I mean, I can't take everything. And it's just, and I had a conversation with my wife, and my wife said, you know, Reb Shmuel Kamenetsky is our advisor, and I'm very close to him. And I ask him everything about the special children and the center. Why don't you ask him what the right thing is? Because our children, have to see you. And I had a conversation first with my wife, and I said, you're right. I can't. I'm getting pressure from different managers and different things to do things, and I'm getting dizzy, and I'm learning all day in the kollel, and I'm tired, and I come home. I'm home for a few minutes, then I'm leaving, and I said, you know what? What do I want in life? What do I want? I want to have balance. I want to have a balance because that will keep me long term grounded and connected. And I have to ask, the rabbis, especially the rabbis that know me very well, know my wife, what the right balance is. How many jobs should I take a week? How many, and those things really, really shaped me because I was able to say, hey, you know what? This is not for me. That's not for me. I'm sorry. I can't go to Brazil, now because I'm gonna have to take I'm gonna have to take a rain check. I'll give it to another singer and and move on. And I really feel that made a big difference, huge difference.
Would you talking about family and children and being there for them and family as a priority, would you, if your child came up to you and said, hey, I want to be a singer, I want to go into the arts, would that be something that you would support, knowing the kind of joy it brings you and meeting and the gift that you've been given? Or would you be a bit more hesitant and try to divert that?
It's a good question. It's a good question. I thought about that because my son is getting older, and he had a great voice. I did
Mm,
a song with him for his bar mitzvah called Eloke Oz with the Israeli Philharmonic Orchestra, and a lot of
wow.
the musicians came over to me and told me how, hey, is your son gonna? I said I thought about it, and the truth is, I would take a look, Mayor, when he becomes of age later on, and see how he reacts to life's, to what his dimension is in terms of, hey, do I want to do this right? Do I want to just jump in because I love the nightlife and I like to, or do I see a certain maturity in him that he's able to ask the right questions and go about it? And truth is, I'm not going to push him to do anything. I just want to feel him out and see how he, the natural. My parents never told me to go sing. Nobody ever told me to go sing. I always sang because I always loved it. And even in yeshiva, I used to sing by the staircase on a Friday night. My friend Yaakov Edelman and Yossi Davidowitz and so many of the boys, till to this day, for hours and hours, we talk about the memories. And we did it because we loved it. I had a yeshiva band, and we had my Rosh Hashiva who actually composed Ta Te Ta Te. Rabbi
Oh,
Davidovitz is a tremendous composer in his
beautiful.
own right. Yeah, beautiful song, and he has over 500 songs. And he used music also in yeshiva to bring out the emotions within us. If I see my son like in the right direction, wanting to do it for the right reasons, and yeah, for sure, and I'll help him either way as my son. But
Sure.
you know, it's
Can I even
something that has
ask
to
you?
come to the natural.
Right,
Yeah.
to see, but even on the flip side, this day and age, there's a lot of women singers out there in their own right. Would that change? Would that answer change if your daughter wanted to get into this industry?
You know what? My niece got into the industry. Her name is Nechama Cohen.
Oh yeah.
She she's my sister's daughter. Many years ago, asked me the same question, and she went to ask. I think it was Rabbi Gissinger, who actually the Art Scroll put out a book about him now. Tremendous rabbi in his own right, and
Mhm.
he said, why not? It's your passion. If you want to do it right for women, for this, and you do it in a way that follows the guidelines of what, why not? He looked at my sister, the rabbi looked at my sister and he said,
Like, what's the question?
what's, she wants to do this. She's so talented and she's so gifted. Why shouldn't she use her gift, obviously with the right parameters, the right way? And my sister's like, yeah, I just was asking. I don't know. And it's just, but yeah, it's got to be done, Mayor. The bottom line is you got to be do it right. And if you
Yeah,
want to do it right, and there's no question. If you have a gift, you got to use it. You don't want to
amazing.
waste it.
Mm.
You know?
What do you think? What's a hard thing about being a singer that people don't realize before they get into it?
I would say one of the things is the tedious work that goes into music. The tedious, to be very, you know, I'm just that way. Like I actually talked about it yesterday with somebody. He was asking me why vocals, he was actually mixing a track for me. And I was explaining to him what I wanted and this and that. And he said, "You're very OCD when it comes to," I said, "Yeah, there is a tedious process that people don't realize that goes into um, the instrumentation of a song, the arrangement of a song, the type of production, the type of sound,
Mm-hmm.
the type of message, and how you want to say it." Today, I told you I pushed myself for many, many hours in the studio, and with my friend Yitzi Waldner, who has been on this journey for 20 years with him, and he knows that I'll stand there and do a stanza 1,600 times if I have to get it right, and I won't let it go. He knows me. I won't let it go till I feel I can get it. I can feel I got it right, and a lot of people really won't have the patience for it because it's patience, it's exactness, and it's something that comes out in the product at the end. You see it at the end. You don't see it through the journey. Sometimes it's difficult work.
Sure.
But a
Just
lot of people say, hey, you know what? Oh, I could become a singer. Let me just go on stage. And then they go into the studio and then they want to create their own music. And it's there's a package to it. There is a package to it.
mm.
That's,
Does that OCD spill over to other parts of your life or just in the studio?
what? It's funny. And when it came to music, my Rebbe always told me if you had the same great memory in your learning that you had for songs and music, for some reason, when it comes to music, especially, I remember like when it comes to a song, somebody mentioned somebody's name today, actually, that I didn't see, I would say in 21 years.
Wow.
And a song that he sang for me one time in camp, I sang it to him over the phone. He's like, how do you remember? There's a certain, I don't know, there's a certain memory that for some reason with music is um, is something that's innate. But
Got that.
yeah.
So I did ask you what was a hard thing about being a singer that people don't realize that goes into it. But what's something about Yaakov Shwekey that people wouldn't assume about you?
You know what? It's a lot of people that I meet after getting to know, either doing jobs or doing musicians or this that, and the person you see on stage and the person you talk to. Sometimes you get to know a person. I'm sure it's like that with many people, with
Yeah.
everybody, but it's a different. There's a certain zone that you're in when you're on stage or even you're playing ball. Some of my friends tell me, you playing ball, you playing basketball, you're
Yeah, I heard you
different.
play ball. I heard you play
Yeah,
ball. Yeah, I heard you
I
got a good
try.
shot. Yeah, you
I
try.
try.
Nah,
But
nah, we're in the shooters. You got a good jump shot over there.
but it's a different, it's a different guy off the court. I said,
Yeah.
yeah, when you're on a certain mission to do something, so you get to know me sometimes. I'm a little less competitive when I'm off the court. And it's music is also, you get into a stage mode, and I'm sure you know this in what you do, is that there's a certain mode that you want to attack when you're on stage or you're singing, and then when you get off it and you get into your own pace of life, it's a different personality. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I totally hear that. There's a certain, I think this just to like get through the incredible emotions one goes through when they're on stage and all that hype and all that energy, you have to put up some sort of like walls in between because there's so much coming at you. And then, like you said, detoxing afterwards. I mean, I know I'm buzzing after I perform, and I had to find ways, healthy ways to like calm down and to, and I would say I get the same type of reactions many a time where I bump into people in the street like, whoa, wait a second. Wow, you're so much more personable, or there's so much more, connection that I feel in person with you. And thank God that's coming more and more in a way where people are saying, hey, I see you online, I see you in person, and that's sort of the same, which is always nice to hear because you always want to come up, I'm trying to, show up authentically on and off camera. So that's, but I totally hear what you're saying. And I mean, were there any, do you, before getting onto stage today, what kind of feelings and emotions come up? Do you still get nervous? Is that something that you're still challenged with? Or now it's like, show up anywhere, you're there, you're ready to go?
You know what? I really, well, first of all, what you said before, it's a lesson to us never to judge a book by its cover. You know,
Yeah,
it's
tremendous.
my Rebbe told me, or Shia Cohn, when he opened up Priority One, and it was for kids that were, had a drug problem, and kids used to come in there with like, you're talking about purple hair and and stuff, and I'm looking at my Rebbe and like, what are we gonna do with this kid? Because I used to learn with them also afterwards, and he said, "What do you mean? What are you gonna? It's like the Lubavitcher Rebbe said the same thing about Purim. Now I saw a beautiful thing. Everybody's wearing masks and costumes." He says, "Yeah, but behind that costume, he says one guy is a clown, one guy is a pirate, well, one guy is, and behind that mask, and behind that physical body that you see is a beautiful Jewish soul. That's You get to know the person, you get to know that soul, that neshama, and you don't judge but what you see. That's something that
Yeah.
you also get taught after the that's for sure.
So right, I love that one. It's so too. It's like right, we don't judge a person when they're a pirate or they're some sort of costume, and so too in real life, right? And off if someone's angry or someone's frustrated or someone comes off in a negative way, that's just their costume. Beneath them is that soul. And
That's the message that he said. That's correct. That's the message. And
it's
what
a.
were you asking before, Mayor?
So
What
I
were
was
you
gonna
saying?
no, so I was asking you what, before you hit up that stage, do you still get nervous, or what kind of emotions come up before you approach a show or some sort of performance?
You know what? I the first time, of course, I had a little nerves. Second time, a little nerves. I would say after a few shows, I don't get as nervous. I don't really get nervous. It's one of, thank God, I really, really thank Hashem for that. That I don't have any stage fright.
Wow.
I'm able to walk on. The only thing I'm a little careful about is, and I wouldn't say nervous about. I just want it to go right as sound because I'm so into
How it comes
making
off.
sure that all the elements and all the mixing and everything is done right. That I am a little bit weary about, but I'm not nervous to go on at all. Meaning,
Mm.
there's no. I'm very, 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 very loose, and it's. But to come down, the energy does drive. Like you said, I'm running hot. You know what I mean? And the engine runs hot, and you're tadlika ta'esh, so to speak,
Yeah.
and you're lighting that fire, and you're this, and to come down afterwards is really, really takes hours of just hours of just you know relaxation, and it takes time, and you don't sleep. And I used to do back to back shows all the time. I used to go to Europe, and I used to have land there, and a few hours later do a concert. My voice, was tired and pushed. Many times I pushed past the brink of tiredness to get it right, and it's not so much so healthy to do that. it's
Mm.
it's really, as you get older, I don't do it anymore as much. I give myself a day of rest in the place, and then there is a process to learn your body and learn the emotions, learn the energy, and how to keep healthy and keep balanced. And it's that's definitely a learning process. That's for sure.
Totally. Oh, for sure. Before we jump into some other aspects, I'm excited to get into throughout your journey, perhaps maybe more in the beginning of it, but I don't know for sure. Were there times, what's some of the challenges you came up against? And was there a time you wanted to give up? And if so, what kept you going?
No, there wasn't a time ever that I was given. I love music too much. Music is a part of my life too much. It's something that it's like there's Torah and music, and that's the lifeblood, within me. There was a time where I felt, um, I shouldn't say depressed because I'm not that way. I felt very sad. There was a time many years ago that I got sick on the airplane, and I landed in Israel, and I realized that my voice was not right and something was happening. I went to a huge doctor because I had a concert that night,
Wow.
and he told me you have laryngitis, and he gave me a big cortisone shot, and nothing was helping, and I had to go on stage and apologize, in a whispering voice, and again, I'll never forget. I think it was Deddy that came to the concert at the time and relieved me, and maybe one other singer. But the crowd was, they came, they bought tickets, and it was very sad. And I went back on the plane because I said on the microphone in a whispering voice, I said, "Rabbois machshavos belev ish." I said, "V'atzat Hashem hi takum." I said, I planned, and the producer of tonight's show planned for so many months for me to be here to sing for you. I said, but Atzas Hashem hi takum, meaning, and I feel bad that you guys are not going to be able to hear me tonight. And I went back on the plane that night back home, and I had to cancel a bunch of shows that week. And but then I realized that, hey, you could be despondent about it. Yeah, you can say, hey, you feel bad that it didn't happen, but at the end of the day, the whole thing is a miracle. The whole a voice, the vibrations of the vocal cords, the way they work, and if you study the intricacies of what's going on, the whole thing's a miracle. Ani ma'amin benisim. You got to. Ani yodea sheyesh Elokim. I know that He's running. Hu hakoach shel kulam, and that's you go through the process of, hey. So I never wanted to give up, though, to answer the question. No, never did. And that was
Wow.
just a one time. Thank God, Baruch Hashem,
Yeah.
Blia and Hara. That didn't happen again.
Wow. Wow. Well, I want to pivot now to your soulmate, Janine, and she's a rock star in her own way. Um, when actually talking about rock stars, if you weren't a rock star in the Jewish world, what kind of rock star would you be?
that's a, that's a good question, Mayor. I don't know. I have to say I don't know
Uh,
because the mission is so clear to me now and what we're doing that I don't know what I would. I'll never forget. I met a big producer I think he was from Los Angeles. He did a lot of songs on very big songs in the American world. He was showing me his plaques, his Grammys, and he asked me, he said, I heard your voice. Would you want to do a song and try to get into the other market, which is a much bigger play in terms of quantity of people? And I looked at him and I said, it could be millions, it could be hundreds of millions. That's not what I'm in it for. I said, I'm not in it I'm in it for my people. I'm in it for my mission. I'm in it for, and he's like, you sure? I'm like, yeah. He said, because I'm able to maybe market you, in a way that you have, when you do a song, even a song, and you want to try out that other world, they will run your life in a way of telling you how to dress, what shows to do, what interviews you should, and I said, I don't want any part of that nonsense. I said, I want to do my own thing. I want to take holy words. I want to take a great message for my people, the way and it's a different kedusha. There's a whole different
Focus.
focus. There's different focus, different holiness. It's a different feel,
Yeah.
and it's all about business. They a lot of them, it's about business. It's
Yeah.
about, and that's not what we're. Yes, you have to make a living. No question, you have to make a living, but that's not your mission. That's not your mission. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But my soulmate, you want to talk?
So go back. So go back
Yeah.
to the other rock star. And yeah. So Janine, before anything, before you were the shwekey that we know today, and before the Children's Center, of course, Special Children's Center. What was about her that you connected with? That you're like, yo, this is the mother of my children, and I want to build a life with her. And did you also tell her that you wanted to be a singer? Was that something that you were
No,
telling people the
it's
dates?
funny. She didn't even know till I sang Mehera at the wedding, really, that I can sing. I never even mentioned it as maybe I mentioned it in passing, like when we talk about a band or a DJ, and I'm like, nah, the truth is, I want to have a band there because I want to do a song. She goes, what do you mean do a song? I said, nah, but. Meanwhile, I was doing the new song that I was doing on the album, Calling Son, at my wedding. And, you know, she, first of all, when I was going out with her at the beginning,
How old were you at that time, and were you already singing professionally?
no, no, my Rebbe told me not to do it till I got married professionally.
Okay,
And that was part of the greatest advice I told you, like I told you before.
just
That's one of
being.
the great ones that I took from
Mm.
him till I get settled, till I find it at the
But
right
back
time.
then, being a professional singer in the Jewish world, wasn't that? I mean, you had a couple of the greats,
Right.
but so like when you were I mean, people ask you about Parnassa, father-in-law, perhaps. Were you just saying yes? I want to be a singer. Did you have some backup plan? Like, how did that come up in conversation?
It's funny. The plan. Even my mother at age 18 and 19, she's like, "Why don't you go to college? You have to go to college. You have to take courses. You have to." I said, "Ma, the truth is, college is not for me. I'm not. It's not. It's just I want to learn Torah and I want to do music." She says, "Yeah, but music is not something that you really can. Very few people can make a living." I said, "You're right, but I'm hanging my hat on it." And
Yeah.
years later, I'll never forget one of my first concerts was in Brooklyn College. I'm like, "Ma, I made it to college. You know,
Yeah.
music, music in college I can do, but not the other way." But with Janine, when I was going out with her, and she was saying, I have to deal with my children. I have to deal with. I said, "What do you mean, my children?" I said, "What are you talking about, my kids?" She used to say, "I got to go to my kids. I got to feed my kids." And I'm like, "What kids? Is there something I don't know about?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "No, no, no, my special kids, my special kids." She used to drive with her car and bring them one by one to this little apartment that they rented, her and her friend, 16 years old, and they're thinking about special children and how to help them. They get home at 1 o'clock in the afternoon from school, and they wreak chaos in the house, and there's so many other siblings that don't get the attention. And these girls come, and my wife from Deal, she's 16 years old. She has everything she needs and doesn't need to go out and work. She comes from a family that supported her. She had everything she wanted. She could have found her hours at the mall. And she says, "No, I want to go out. I want to sleep in a house and understand the needs of my people." And she
Wow.
went out, and her and her friends slept in the house for 2 weeks and understood the pain and the support that's needed, for the marriage of the couple and the other siblings. And they decided to rent an apartment with their own money and start a place called the Special Children's Center, where they bring the kids, they feed them, they give them extra therapy, they give them most of all the love, the attention, and it turned out to be 3 children, and then 10, and then 15, and 25, and now they're servicing 1,000 families.
Wow.
and it's something that's it turned into something huge. But again, they gave their life, and they still to this day, her and her friend Mrs. Bender give their lives to the special children. They had parents today. I'd say even today. Yes, today lunchtime. She called me after the meeting. I was in the studio, and she was basically crying, talking about a couple that's thanking them. They moved their whole life from another place. They bought a house just to be next to the center because how much suffering they were having before they, the center is more of also a support group.
Community.
It's a community. It's not just drop them off no, it's they want you there. These girls till today, they never took their eye off the ball. I want to love the child first, and we'll ask questions later. Nasev and Ishma.
Mm.
And that's, you don't find that. You don't find that, the love and the unconditional love, and to do whatever it takes to help that child and not ask any questions about finances. You don't find that. And I realized then and there that this is somebody who's above and beyond special. And we took it, this, I want to be a part. I told her one day, I think it was after we got married, I said, I still tell her to this day, I want to grab on your coattails in Olam Haba after 120 years when Hashem will ask me the question, you know, what did you do for my children? And I can say I was a part of something unique, and to lift up the spirits of the really the broken, and also the, I shouldn't say the downtrodden, because they're handpicked. Some of them are unfortunately, in the last 10 years, Mayor, we've seen a lot of special children being born to first year, parents, where they didn't used to be like that. So it's very, very difficult for the first year, first child,
Mm.
newly married couple to understand, and then the center just taking the responsibility, and walking them through the life of what it is to have. Of course, their lives change, but then again, it becomes, once you know that there's a family by your side, and there's a family that's going to support you, and it takes months and months, of course, and sometimes years, but it's they changed people. They changed they changed the world of special ed. I can say that they changed the special ed world. There's no question about it.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, so it's a no-brainer when you came across Janine and she was sharing with what she was up to before you were even married, before the center, but just the sampling of what was to come. She was a keeper.
And then to realize the connection, Mayor, of the special child's holy neshama with music, and how I can fill the role of singing their song, meaning singing their song within their own. Big Gedolim came to the center, Mayor. I would say the last Gadol that came there was Reb Shimon Galei. I don't know if you heard of him, but a huge Gadol that Reb Chaim Kanievsky is his go-to. I was there when Reb Chaim Kanievsky called him to come over. I mean, that's how big. He has no time, and he came to America, and I was very close to him to this day, and I asked him to come give blessings, brachas to the children, and his gabbai told me, he says, man, so please, it's going to be only 15 minutes, and then he has to leave. I said, of course. I'll never forget it. This is a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. He came, and the gabbai looked at his clock when he came in. He said, 15 minutes. I said, okay, whenever he's ready to leave. 15 minutes goes by, and I'm singing, and another 15 minutes, and another 15. He's there for an hour and a half, and he grabs the mic from me and starts singing for the children. And an hour and a half later, after he leaves, he tells me, on the way out, he tells me in Hebrew, he says, you don't know what Kedusha is in this place. You have no idea. I didn't even want to leave, and I don't even want to leave right now. I want to stay here. I just want to stay here because I feel the holy neshamas. And I want to tell you something, he said. whoever has any connection, you could say it in my name, whoever has any connection with this center and what they're doing for these children and what type of children are here and the staff and the whole vibe and the spiritual, sparks that are going on here, he said, has a ticket in the next world straight. There is no, and he told me that. And for an hour and a half, for him to stay there, I don't know. It's just, I knew that before, but that's a reconfirmation, of
Wow.
what
What
type
kind
of
of
world is going on there. That's for sure.
tremendous. Wow. Wow. That's incredible. So I mean, may Janine have and her partner and anybody involved should have continued success in that because that's
Man,
that's amazing. That's truly amazing
man,
how people can show up in so many ways to help the others. So let's start bringing this to a. I mean, I really appreciate the time you've given to this podcast, and
sure.
so as we come to a close, I wonder if if someone is listening in right now and they are want to go after something after a dream. What kind of advice would you say? What would you give them as chizuk, as strength to go after that?
I would say you can be anything you want to be when you put your mind to it. You know, you can be stronger. You can be braver, just like the center song. You can be anything you want to be. The 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 confidence that the reason why I did that song, Mayor, is because I realized just this exact question that you asked me. How many kids are gifted in many different ways, not only in music, in many different ways, but the only ingredient that they're missing is the confidence of that they really, really are great within themselves. And when I started doing the song I Can Be, and I got it from the center because I was walking into the building and I saw a little girl. I'll never forget the image of her and her therapist is trying to tell this girl with knee braces and metal braces on her legs and trying to get her to walk. And she's telling her, "You can do it. I'm telling you, you can do it." And as she's being more positive and telling her she can do it, you can see the girl pushing through the pain of trying to move her feet. And I realized then and there that just even positive words can actually bring about, you know, past the physical limitations, so to speak, on every type of level. And that was the inspiration for the song I Can Be. And to realize that, and whenever I sang it all over the world, I've been hearing stories till today about children that as they sing it, they feel, hey, I could be anything. I am a hero. I really can do this. Whatever I turn to, I want to be a great writer. I want to be a great, I don't know, I want to be a great learner. I want to be whatever you do, you can be great if you just feel that way and you have and it's very difficult for some kids, Mayor, because you don't know the background and you don't know the parents and you don't know the sometimes you can't judge them. It's a broken home. It's a situation where it's a tough school teacher. It's a tough situation. There's no money or whatever this, so many different stories. To feel that you really can be anything is you gotta keep talking that message into yourself. And with the song, and that's why I did the song, because the song, you can keep singing that. I can be stronger. I can be braver. I can be anything, anything I want to be. Oh, anything I want to be. I have the power. I have the courage. I am a hero. Everything I need is inside, and everything I need is inside of me. And keep, you know, harping on that message and understanding. And so many kids have really turned to the song and really changed their view on their own life.
Mm.
And you realize right then and there that, hey, if you're listening to this podcast right now and you have a dream, I'm telling you right now, I was that boy. I was that boy at 16, 17 years old, singing in yeshiva and understanding that this is what I want to do. And so many people's telling me, your name is not the name you should use. And maybe you should use another name, and establish people telling you certain things. And I say, you know what? I'm going to fulfill my dream. I'm going to go into it, and I'm going to, with Hashem's help, with the right advice, with the right friendships, and the right priorities, and the right balance, I'm going to try to walk this journey and really try to fulfill, my mission, and understand that there's within me, and nobody can stop you. By the way, the difference is, and you give a sports analogy, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
The difference between a shooter that shoots a higher percentage is sometimes all mental. The stroke is there, but I believe every shot's going in, and when it doesn't go in, I'm surprised. And somebody might tell you, "Hey, isn't that Gaiva?" No, no. Ramosha Feinstein knew that he was the greatest in the generation. Moshe Rabbeinu knew he was the greatest. At the same time, they knew that the greatness is not because of themselves, is because Hashem gave them that. That's humility. But don't confuse that. Somebody listening to this podcast right now, don't confuse that with gaiva, because the confidence within yourself, as Hashem wants you to have that confidence. Of course, anava and humility is to understand that it's not you, that it comes from Him. But at the same time, you are great. You are a hero. You have everything within yourself
Mm.
to lift up your spirits and to fulfill your dream.
Beautifully said, and I think it resonates with the youth, but also I think any adult listening too, kid at heart, could resonate with the message of the song and what you're sharing here. That it's never too late to pursue the dream, to take something new on, to grow as a person, as an individual, and to share the gift that you've been given, no matter what age you find yourself in. The So this is the Great Day podcast, Yaakov Shwekey. So I got to ask you, what is a great day for you?
Hmm. A great day is a great day like today, when I go sing a song in the studio, and it talks about that life is a journey, and I don't make the order. I don't make the organization. Hashem just walks you through. And I sing a song in English today in the studio, talking about how, you know, you got to reach deep within. It's the scars that make you who you are. And it's those type of, oh, I'm sorry, here goes the ding at the end. But the it's a song, it's so, Rabbi Y. Jacobson told me something. He didn't tell it to me. He said it in a class. He said a beautiful line that I love. He said,
Mm.
"What is love?" He said, "What is love?" And I think he said in the name of some other rabbi that I forget now. But he said, "What is love? Love is to find the song that's playing in someone else's heart and sing it to them when they have forgotten it." And that
Powerful.
that to me is a powerful lesson, that everybody has a song. Sometimes you forget how to sing it. Sometimes you forget the tune. Sometimes you forget the lyrics, because we're human, and life's journey takes us, many different paths, and sometimes very challenging paths. But if I have a good day like today, and I'm able to sing, and I'm able to use the gift that God gave me and enjoy it tremendously, and understand that this song that I sang today is going to move so many different, people to so many different emotions and change, and even within myself, to just sing from the soul and understand that that's what the mission is. It's a day that I can go to sleep and say, hey, thank you, Hashem, for giving me another day. Remember that song, Mary, that I did, I Am Alive? That's what it was all about. it's
Sure.
it's 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 every single day of life, I'm breathing, I'm singing, is something that is, if you believe that that's the greatest gift in the world, hey, you know, that was, you should know that the song came about through my brother-in-law. at Kiddush time, right after Kiddush, every single weekend, Shabbos, for years, and he's still doing it. How many days since Rosh Hashanah it has been that we have to thank Hashem for? And he goes around for each kid. What do you have to thank Hashem for? How many days do you have to thank Hashem for? And what do you, and you go into this, and now I did hear others who are to the thank you Hashem, and this, it's a beautiful thing, because that's a good day. You were able to breathe, you were able to sing, you were able to thank, you were able to pray. There's no better day in the life, that's for sure. I am
Yes,
alive.
I'm alive. Tremendous. On certain days, do you listen to your own songs to give you a lift you up?
No question.
Yeah,
There's no
love that.
question. Sometimes I turn to an older song. The other day, I have this. Oh, where is it? Oh, it was here for so many. We just moved it because we just did a video shoot. Which, by the way, I'm going to say on the podcast in the studio, we did a video shoot because through COVID and through the challenge of the virus, every single day getting so many requests for videos of kids that didn't have bar mitzvahs the way they should have and the way they planned with the family member in the hall. And I decided to do a brand new song, Hamalach HaGoyel I See, which I did at my friend's son's bar mitzvah. I would say it's a month and a half ago, but we decided to dedicate it. And we asked people to send us through an email address all their videos of the bar mitzvah boys singing, even at their COVID, so to speak, bar mitzvahs. And we're editing it now and putting out a video with this brand new Hamalach HaGoyel. So I had this little cassette Shamati from the first album. Where is it? Oh, here it is. And it's on my desk to remind me, right here. It's on my desk to remind me that, what was the first album and how many years we have to go back and thank Hashem for,
Wow,
for so many albums that have come out since then. And that's
huge.
what it
Yaakov,
is.
Yaakov, thanks so much. I really appreciate your time and sharing your journey with us and your insights. Where can people find you if they want to connect with you and hear your music and reach out?
Well, first of all, the regular platforms that we're on YouTube, we're on Apple Music, we're on Spotify and all the streaming services, that's for sure. I have a website that just keeps people in touch. We have a 212 shwekey number. So all these, but the main thing is if people want to go to the regular platforms, YouTube and Apple and this that people have on their phones and so many different, obviously today it's not so much cassette and CD anymore. So you can find me, SHWEKEY, Yaakov, YAAKOV. So that's
Wonderful.
what it is.
Yaakov, keep the fire alive. Thank you so much.
Keep lighting that fire, Mayor. Thank you for your time, and you are a talented interviewer. You got good questions, Mayor. Thank you. Keep inspiring you as well. Appreciate everything. Thank you. Enjoyed it.